Hello, my friends and my almost friends and I feel like I have a little frog in my throat. Okay, I'm really excited to be here with you guys. We're making really awesome, what did I call it? Freaking fabulous French toast that doesn't spike your blood sugar and keeps you full for hours. Apologies for the wet hair. I know some people kind of get weirded out by that, but I don't. So that's what's happening today. Okay, so we're going to make this really awesome French toast. I have all the ingredients here behind me. And I just want to give a little intro so that you guys know like why it's worth listening. So I'm Shana Kamen, as you probably know if you're in the group, and I'm a strategic nutritionist. And that means that essentially I teach my clients how to use food as medicine by creating incredibly personalized and customized nutrition plans to address whatever nutritional deficiencies or weakened organs that we need to deal with so that you can bring your body back to thriving health. So whether that's correcting hormones or indigestion or even the symptoms of diabetes, pretty much anything you're dealing with, any skin issues, anything like that. So anyways, I just wanted to give you that intro so that you're like, oh, maybe it's worth listening. Okay, so here I'm going to prop my phone up. And okay, so we're making our awesome French toast. And here's my little bowl, so you can see. My kitchen's a little bit of a mess because we're going to New York tomorrow for my sister's wedding, so that's awesome. And so if she's watching, Mazel Tov Kayla, that's her name. And okay, so first, it's not like complicated. Oops, sorry, I forgot to turn my phone with the notifications. I'm getting text messages. Okay. It's not so different, practically speaking, than regular French toast. Like you're gonna scramble your eggs. We'll add in our vanilla and cinnamon. I'll explain, I guess, as I do it. But the big difference nutritionally of why it really matters, excuse me, is that generally speaking, when you make a regular French toast, you're using white bread and often like leftover challah, so like really cakey white bread that has obviously a lot of white flour and a lot of sugar and a lot of yeast. And usually people are trying to be good in some capacity, so they'll use just a little bit of butter or oil in the pan. And then when they serve it, they like cover it with like, you know, powdered sugar or a ton of like real maple syrup, or probably more like Aunt Jemima's fake maple syrup. And so all those things coming together are a real disaster for your digestion and for your blood sugar and for your sense of being full. So your ability to be full comes from a few different places. I feel like I should make this as I talk. Well, I'll explain why the difference, and then I'll start to make and say why it's so good, the one that we're doing. So our ability to feel full comes from having enough good quality fats, because believe it or not, actually, the feeling of full is a hormone, and it's called leptin, and it's made from good quality fat. So that's why if you've ever tried to diet before and you go on a low fat diet and you're hungry all the time, you'll even eat like maybe like five to seven huge salads and you're still hungry, even though like your stomach is bloated. It's because there was no fat in there, and you literally cannot feel full without fat. Okay, so as long as you're using good quality fats, like right here, if you notice in the recipe, what's happening over here? I put organic grass-fed butter. Hey, Kayla. Yeah, guys, say hi so I know who's here, because it only shows me sometimes. So I use the organic grass-fed butter because that one is essentially like taking a multivitamin. It's very different than the regular. If you want to keep this part, you can use coconut oil, and if you're freaking out about coconut oil from that article that's been floating around, don't worry about it. I'm not concerned at all. People have been using coconut oil for thousands of years with great health benefits, and basically I'm not concerned about whatever studies the American Heart Association is putting out. The American Heart Association is also the ones that puts stamps on Fruit Loops cereal and says heart healthy, and puts, you know, stickers on whatever kind of fruit juice and Snapple and says that's heart healthy. They also were the ones promoting margarine for 40 years saying that's healthy. So I'm not concerned with their opinion, generally speaking, for food, right? There's a lot of conflict of interest when those studies are being funded. And so when I take my material, I'm always looking for the the studies that are not conflict of interest, that are independently funded. And more than that, obviously I've 8 to 9 years of experience of doing this, and I see the tremendous benefits across the board in every single disease and health issue, that good quality fats dramatically help people's health, coconut oil being one of them. So if you have more questions about that, feel free to comment here or private message me or email me. And I also actually I did a course. It was the first course that I did for this group called The Skinny on Fats, and I'm happy to put a link for that if you're interested. That goes really in depth into detail about how fats work and why certain ones are good and why certain ones are bad and all that. Okay, sorry, I was itching my foot. Anyways, the point of why I'm bringing this up here is because basically the big switch for this French toast versus regular French toast is that we're swapping out, guys, say hi. I see a bunch of people are on, but I can't see who you are. Say hi and tell me where you're from, please. What was I going to say? Okay, so the biggest difference essentially, right, is that we're using plenty of good quality fats. We're not minimizing them. We are minimizing the sweeteners because the sweetener, sugar and any other kind of sweetener, creates the hormone called ghrelin, which makes you feel hungry, right? So that's why you can eat like a huge meal and then have a piece of cake and then you're hungry again. Because even though you ate a bunch, it's actually a hormone, right? We're not just like a math equation of like calories in, calories out. That's not true. That doesn't work. And that's why if you've ever tried dieting that way, it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for anyone. So here we go. So what makes this one so great? So number one, so the third piece though, the most important piece, is that also when you're hungry, it's not just a hunger in your stomach, it's a hunger from your cells, right? Your cells are actually hungry. We really crave and eat things because our cells need fuel. So every part of what we're making today is very nutrient dense. So our cells will feel, wow, I really got what I needed, right? That's why you can eat like a whole bag of potato chips or a whole bag of jelly beans and be hungry afterwards, even if you feel sick, because there was no nutrition in it actually giving you what you really need, right? So that's the opposite of what we're making today. So I don't believe in living in jail. We should have yummy, healthy things. And so, when my family wants French toast, I'm happy to make it for them, and I just slant it, playing everything in our favor. Okay, so I'm using, these eggs are the ones that I recommend, unless you can get pastured, like from Whole Foods or something, but honestly, it's too annoying for me because they're brown and there's a bunch of blood spots, and I hate throwing them away. So these are my second best choice. They're the dark yolk ones from Trader Joe's. And so I'm just going to crack them in my bowl and scramble them. And the reason why I choose these is because they have about 15 to 20 times more vitamin A and D and K than a regular supermarket egg. So, right, if we're talking about the concept of nutrient density, that in order to get the amount of vitamin D and K that you're going to get from one of these eggs, you'd have to eat like 15 to 20 supermarket eggs, right? So I'm not even really talking about the calories. I'm talking about the nutrition, which is really what you're eating for. Okay, so I'm just scrambling it. Nothing crazy happening there. Wow, you know what? I forgot to do this. I'm going to turn on my pan. I'm actually going to turn it on high for a second so that it's ready for us because I didn't turn it on earlier. And I'm putting in my butter. See? Like a good glob. I don't really measure, as you know, I never do. Okay, there you go. In the pan. It's melting. Okay, so we're scrambling this. And then I'm getting more text messages. I'll have to respond later. I forgot. I usually try. Okay, as you know, I don't really measure anything, but here's vanilla. Here's the cinnamon. Oh my gosh, my son told me yesterday he was making something and he accidentally put black pepper instead of cinnamon because I have it like in a very similar jar. He was like, that was really gross, I had to throw it away. So make sure not to put black pepper in this, that would be weird. Okay, so there we go. If you want to add in some like organic milk or almond milk, you can. I just don't think it's necessary, and it's just like one more annoying thing to do, and I just leave it out and it's fine. Especially if you're making this gluten-free and you're using gluten-free bread versus like a whole grain sprouted bread like we're using here, then I wouldn't add the milk because those get soggy really easy. Okay, I'm lazy and I used a small bowl, and so I'm cutting my bread in half so that it fits better because I didn't want to get my big bowl dirty because it's like more annoying to clean. But I'll tell you what else. It's also a little bit of an intentional strategy. One second. Video only. Okay, fine. Okay, so is that I find when they're smaller pieces, it kind of absorbs more egg. And for me, as much as this bread is the healthiest bread, it's not as healthy as the eggs. And so, right, I'm always like thinking strategically of like, okay, I'm making this because my kids like it, and I'm not really gonna eat it because I don't really feel good when I have bread, even this kind of bread, but they do. Hold on, I'm just melting the butter around the pan. Okay, see, it's all melty and good everywhere. If you're using cast iron or stainless steel like this, which I recommend, you need to use plenty of butter, and now I turn the fire down to 2. Can you see that? And make sure the butter gets everywhere. The egg anyways is better and more nutrient dense, and so I'm just kind of like letting it kind of like sop it up in there as much as I can, and I find that the small pieces absorb more than like one big piece. Okay, you can watch me dump it in. Hey guys. Okay. Is it flipping? There he goes. Okay, so here it is, sitting in there. Here's my dirty counter. God bless my cleaning lady who is here today, actually right now, but she didn't do the kitchen yet. So I just told her I needed it. Okay, so just whoop in there. There you go. Okay, and I'm just going to do that a bunch more times. So for those of you who are like, oh, but that's so annoying. I don't know. I don't think it's so annoying, to be honest. This is really not so annoying to me. I'll tell you why also, because it's filling. It's satisfying. I'm not, like, I'm going to make like 2 pieces worth, and I'm going to give 1 to each of my kids, and they're going to be full. Because when I serve it, I'm going to serve it with another pat of butter on top that I'm going to let melt. So that's really awesome. Because it's the good quality fats, again, that are really satisfying and filling. And the bread is also, this bread, sprouted grain bread, has more protein in it, and is also has more fiber, and is way easier to digest than regular whole wheat. I don't recommend regular whole wheat. Like, you won't find that in my house ever. I mean, maybe if someone like brings it over for Shabbat or something, but I don't buy it. I'll only use like sprouted grains if I'm using wheat or regular bread in general. Okay, here we go. Putting this piece in, and also I definitely recommend keeping it on like a low flame, because that's how you get it to cook through and through without getting like burned and kind of gross on the bottom. Okay, you guys have any questions so far? Anything I'm saying freaking you out? Are you guys really not commenting? Or is my phone just being weird? Last time also I wasn't seeing any comments, and then when I finished the video I saw like you guys were commenting, and that made me so happy, but I miss you commenting while I'm live. Okay. Okay, so now I'm flipping the first one that I put in, and the second one. Woo. Okay, I'm gonna let that cook for a second while I explain more in depth of what I was saying before, of like why this keeps you full, right? And how it works at its low glycemic, right? So white glycemic, what does that mean? It means how fast it will affect your blood sugar, right? So if you just eat like 1 molecule of sucrose, which is like just plain white sugar, it immediately gets into your bloodstream even before you swallow it. Like, it just like dissolves into your cheek essentially, and the sugar gets absorbed into your bloodstream. Which the problem with that is that it just spikes it very, very fast, which is why, like, if you have a soda or you have a sucking candy or anything like that, you feel like woo right away, but then you feel like whoa, or maybe you don't put those two things together if you haven't noticed that. But generally what happens when you have sugar is that you feel awesome really fast, unless you have like way too much, and then you just feel like crazy, almost like too much coffee. It's a very similar experience when you're like bzzz, right? But other than that, you just will crash. So some people feel like, oh, a leaf just fell. Hey. Some people feel crazy and they're like, oh, I guess I'm just like hungry again. That's so weird. I just ate. But it's really not that you're hungry for nutrition at that point, or you're hungry because you didn't get enough calories. You're hungry for 2 reasons. Number one, because there's sugar spiked and then dropped, and so your body's desperately trying to create equilibrium again. Hey, it's Verlia. And, oh, hold on. Let me flip it. Okay, they look pretty good, to be honest. Let's see. Ah, I pressed the wrong button. Hey, Erica. Okay, so there they are. It's not so crazy looking, right? So I have the fire on like 2 or 3. I think the first ones are probably done. I'm going to flip this one more time, put it in the middle. And thanks for that. Okay, so now, actually, ooh, I need another bowl. I'll grab another bowl. Oh, snap, I forgot to get blueberries, I think. Okay, this is such an important part of it. Let me see if I have any blueberries in the freezer. I usually always have, and I think I don't have. Oh no. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna fake it with grapes, and you guys can just pretend. Like, blueberries are like a staple in my house. My kids eat them all the time. I get the wild frozen ones from Trader Joe's because they're less expensive. We're just gonna pretend these are blueberries. Okay, I'm putting them in a bowl. The less expensive, they have more vitamins and minerals and less sugar. The wild ones do. Okay, and these are kind of the same size, so we're just gonna go with it. You guys can use your imagination. I don't know how good. I mean, it'll taste good. It won't be as good as blueberries, but the point is that okay, I'll do all of them. And then the reason why, right? Because people, it's so fun with like French toast. You always want to put like fun stuff on top of it. You don't want to like serve it plain. No one's gonna like it like that. Okay, let me take it out now. Taking it out of the pan, putting it on the plate, turning off my fire. Okay, now I'm putting, you see, more butter on top because this is a really good butter and it's going to keep my kids full for a long time, and it's even going to help counteract the sugar in the maple syrup. Right? Essentially, sugar in any form spikes your blood sugar and makes you hungry really fast. And fat, good quality fats, do the opposite. Fats make you feel full. Okay? But I don't want to just now like grrr it over. Because that's going to be way too much sugar. But I also don't want to put nothing on it and then have them feel like, oh man, this isn't sweet at all, like, how lame. So first of all, I'm going to put some more cinnamon on it, just because I think it looks really nice. That's not the only reason. Tastes really good. Cinnamon is sweet also, naturally, so I can get away with a little less sweetener with that. It also helps balance your blood sugar as an herb. So it's not nearly as effective as, you know, adding the fats are, but it still is effective. So now I have my pretend blueberries, which are really grapes, in the bowl because I'm out of blueberries, and I'm gonna add, like, this is about a teaspoon of maple syrup. Oh no, look at that. Okay, that's coming out a little. Okay, we're running low. What can you say? Okay, we're just gonna call that enough. Pretend that's a spoonful. And honestly, it probably should be enough because it's not, I only did 1 piece, not 2. So I'm just stirring it all around. Can you see that they're like all kind of glossy looking? That's what you want. And then, sorry, it's on my paper plate. I should have, oh, you can't even see. I put it on a paper plate. I should have put it on a nicer plate for you guys. I'll take a picture after on a nicer plate. And you just kind of put it on top like that. And voila. Let me flip the camera around. It's pretty disappointing looking on a paper plate. What can I say? But there you go. And that way, essentially, because there's the pretend blueberries that are really grapes, cover in maple syrup so they can have it with every bite, and they get that like sweet kick with every bite because it's like especially covered in the maple. But and it spreads better, right, because of like the berries / grapes. But it doesn't affect their blood sugar the same way. And so I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover. I think I covered it all. I talked a lot in the beginning. Anyway, so I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can have 10 more seconds while I'm on here to post it below. And if not, you can also, if there's any questions that you like, have any private questions you want to ask me, should there be anything wrong with microwaving the berries for a few seconds to soften them? That is a very good question. Okay. In an ideal world, I do not recommend microwaves because they dramatically reduce the nutrition in foods. But number one, if you just want to use fresh blueberries, you're totally welcome to. I just get the frozen because they're cheaper, and then I don't get worried about them going bad. Like, I hate buying really expensive healthy things and then having it go bad in the back of my fridge. It just like irks me. I have like a lot of like a minimalist inside of me, and I really hate waste in general. I hate wasting time. I hate energy, wasting energy. I hate wasting potential. And so like, it's a big thing for me. It's like really annoying to buy organic, super healthy and delicious like berries of all sorts, and then like they get moldy in like 10 seconds. So that's why I get the frozen. But if you are happy just to get regular and, or, you know, not frozen, you could use that, or you can just take them out maybe before you start. But again, you know, this isn't necessarily an ideal world. And so everything, you know, nothing exists in a vacuum. And so if you are making this and you forget and you think your kids won't like it if it's cold, then I would for sure just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like everything has a relationship to each other. So if it's between that and just like putting a ton of maple syrup on it, I would for sure do it. Like even if I was at your house and those are my choices, I would also choose to do that. I think, so I hope that answers. If there's any other questions that you guys have that are maybe more personal or and related to this or not related to this, feel free to reach out and private message me. I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. If there's anything I can answer on one foot without knowing more, I'm happy to do that. And if there's something that I'll need more information, I'll let you know. So is that it? I know a lot of you guys joined halfway through, so you missed the beginning where I explained everything. Should I give you a quick little recap? I'll give you a quick little recap. Essentially, the main difference between this and regular French toast is threefold. Number one, the bread we're using is dramatically different. So we're using a sprouted whole grain bread versus like a white bread. The sprouted grain bread, number one, doesn't have any sugar added, and usually white bread, especially like the yummy challah that we use usually for French toast, is like has a ton of sugar added. Also, white sugar, when you digest it, essentially turns to sugar. I mean, white flour. I'm sorry. Essentially turns to sugar once it's in your body. It spikes your blood sugar the same way. That's why we crave it the same way, right? People don't just crave like, you know, ice cream and cookies. They also crave like bread and pasta in the same type of way of like, give it to me now, right? And there's never enough, right? You don't have that experience with steak or with avocados or even broccoli. Like you might, like I crave that stuff, but it's not a thing of like, give it to me right now or I'm going to lose my mind, right? Because you have a real need for it. It's not like this endless craziness, which I can get more into another time about how cravings work. And so it has more fiber, it has a lot more nutrition, so it actually keeps you full. Then we're using good quality butter, and so the butter also keeps us full longer. And like I said, if you're able to get like grass-fed and organic, then it's like a multivitamin. It's like full of vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K. It's a little more expensive, but I think it's like for sure worth it. You know, I also will get like the organic, like raw grass-fed milk, and it's like $10 for half a gallon, which some people think is insane, which I totally understand. But usually people are happy to spend that on a bottle of wine, which is, you know, that's just fine with me if you want to do that. But like this is literally very healthy for me, not just pleasurable. And it's like something my kids will happily drink, and so I'm happy to do that. So that's basically a very similar thing with this butter. It's a little more, but it's really nutrient dense. Okay, and the fact that we're minimizing the sweetener, right? So because the sugar in all forms spikes your blood sugar and creates the hormone ghrelin, which is what makes you feel hungry, right? That's why like after a Shabbat meal or after a Thanksgiving meal, you're able to eat a bunch and feel stuffed, and then someone brings out dessert and you're like, oh, I'll just have a little bit, but of course you don't. And then you eat it and then you're like, oh man, I wish they had more brisket on the table. That was so good. You're suddenly hungry again, right? So it's obviously not that you didn't have enough. It's that it's not so simple, and our hunger and our cravings are hormone related. It's not just a calories in, calories out thing. Right? That's why, for example, not to like toot my own horn, but toot, right? That my clients are able to like really lose weight easily and get rid of their cravings easily, because it's not, I'm not going to ever teach you to fight your body. I'm always going to tell you to work with your body and show you exactly how that's done, right? So if you're having foods that are high in good quality fats, that literally creates the hormone to make you feel full and satisfied. So then when someone brings out the cake, okay, like maybe it smells good, but you don't have that like, oh my gosh, I have to have it. And if you have a little bit, it's like doesn't affect you the same way. Versus like if you've been trying to be good the whole meal and you just like had a bunch of salad and no fat, and then the cake comes out, like you're gonna have no willpower. But hey Ada, oh, I'm so glad. You're so welcome. So you'll have it's not just you have no willpower, you literally don't have the chemicals, like the chemicals in your brain. Like, you know, I think a lot of us understand, you know, medication for mental health, but realize like, yeah, like our food also creates chemicals. And, you know, even a lot of my clients that have like a lot of mood issues are able to get off their medications for depression or anxiety. Obviously, I would never take them off. Like, they have to discuss that with their doctor. But the point I'm making is that by addressing their food and giving yourself what you really need, you can literally dramatically, profoundly transform your thoughts and your cravings and how you feel across the board. And so I know I'm a little off tangent here, but but it's relevant because of the concept. You know, people think like, oh, to lose weight you have to, it's like hard, you have to like eat less on purpose. But no, you don't. It's not on purpose. You just feel satisfied. But the way to like make that much harder for yourself, right, is that if then you're going to add a bunch of sugar on it, then you're creating all those hormones called ghrelin that make you feel hungry, versus in the good quality fats is the leptin that makes you feel full. So we want to help ourselves and do it in a way. And then, and the benefit, of course, is that the good quality fats are also very nourishing and feed your cells what they really need. So then we put the cinnamon, which is also helps your blood sugar stay stable, and the berries to carry the little bit of maple syrup all around. But across the board, here it's not so beautiful. I should have done a real plate. I usually remember to do that when I'm making it for you guys. Woohoo! See it? They're grapes instead of blueberries because I forgot I didn't have. But that's that. So, okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this and that it was helpful. For those of you who were watching them from the beginning, I hope it wasn't boring that I repeated. But I think I explained a little better this time, so that's good. And again, if you guys have any questions, please, you know, really feel free to reach out. I'm here for you. I care. Either on the post here or privately, and let me know. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.